right? So all these basic, hiccups are not there with us at all. We are very, very comfortable in underwriting plethora of colleges across 59 countries. So what people think that it is study abroad is only a US game, or it is Canada, or it is UK, Australia. No, please see, student traffic is actually going to so many countries, and these are the countries where we have funded, right? Next slide, please.
Right.
So basically what we are trying to say here is that the number of students who are going abroad every year, now that is increasing. Is it good, bad, ugly? Of course, it is very good, right? So that means we are getting more aware that how to find the right job with the skill that you possess. And I think somehow the students today are also more cognizant of the skill that they have versus the course that they pursue and the kind of jobs they want to do or what they want to do with their careers. So this is so beautifully strewn in together. And the thing is that, again, Indian colleges, Indian institutes offer us great options, right? But there are times that we are looking for a wider horizon, for a diversification of our existing surroundings. And also there are certain, let's say, blend of courses, okay? And that's why I'm saying blend of courses, which are right now only available in abroad universities. So this is the reason how we can see that there is a substantial movement of student traffic abroad, right? And all of them, trust me, do not go with a single-minded objective of settling abroad, right? As a working professional, I can tell you that we do see a lot of students coming back to India willfully, please understand, and wanting to settle here. But and with whatever trend analysis that we have seen, this number is only going up and it is only rising. I think the world over also, they are realizing the advantages that an Indian student kind of brings in, the hard work, the academic focus that we kind of bring in, right? So I think extremely proud slide to be on, but yes, let's move to the next one.
Yes.
Now, this is not really a scary slide, right? If this was something like inflation curves, we all would have taken it in our leap and moved forward, right? The important thing to see is that, yes, the cost of education is rising. Why is it rising? First of all, whether it is India or abroad, right? Even the basics facilities have become more expensive. And we do see, first of all, while this is an absolute cost, please understand that there's that much of devaluation of money world over that has also happened, right? What $100 could fetch today is not the same what $100 could fetch 10 years or 5 years down the line. So yes, in total absolute terms, the education cost is rising. And hence, if I talk about one value, right, we need to accumulate that much more, right? And the trend will only go up. We have never seen inflation ever going back to where it started, right? Somehow it's only the curve that gets less steep or more steep, but we can see that it is only getting steeper and it will go further steep as we move forward, right? Because all of us would be squabbling over limited and those courses. Next slide, please.
Yes, I think this graph is great to show the importance of financial planning for future education. Yes.
True, rightfully so.
Right.
Because again, I think this is also important for students who are not really wanting to pursue study abroad today, right? Or even any sort of master's or any sort of skill enhancement course. The thing is that even if you have a 5-year horizon, okay, what you are thinking is yours, what you're thinking of an investment amount today, you will definitely require more. And you can actually do the study across pick up the course that you're wanting to do after 5 years, right? And just see the way the financial cost is rising year on year. There is, the school fees also changes every year, right? The college fees changes every year. So does this. And this is what impacts cost of education.
Correct.
An important segment in cost of education is inflation, which is your living cost, right? Which we see every day that's rising.
Yes.
So now we are here talking about how to finance higher education, right? Now, when we are talking about financing higher education, again, being a parent, I can say that, all the wealth advisors and all sane parents would start thinking about investments towards their child's future the minute the child is born, right? And there is always certain funds that they keep aside for the child's education. But when the child really reaches that stage when they want to deploy that fund, we need to look at other factors also. Is it prudent to deploy your own funds, or you want to keep it just as a backup, just in case? I think as a world, we are still emerging from what happened in COVID, right? Um, with the kind of uncertainties that are happening, with the kind of globalization and hence one world kind of a thing we are no longer isolated because we are in India, and hence it cannot affect us. What actually starts in one small part of the world has a potential to affect us, and good, bad, both ways, right? So with that thought in mind, I would say that yes, we all should save, definitely. uh, Self-finance can be thought upon as long as you have substantial savings for the child and as a parent for yourself, right? Otherwise, what we always say that, again, an education loan in India comes without any exit barriers. That means there are no foreclosure penalties in an education loan. I always recommend parents that they should pick up an education loan, let the child see through the education, cover those 2 3 years, right, depending whether it's a diploma, undergraduate, or a postgraduate course. And then, if things are fine, and if the child gets a good job, or they're not requiring for a loan, then they can settle it, right? And the banks are more than happy, and even we at Kedla are more than happy to close the loan once we receive our funds. But at least you have something of your own, and you are kind of utilizing that, and maybe have a better utilization. Second is scholarship, and you may hate me for this, Krishna, but the thing is that scholarships, while again, they can only service part of your entire cost of education, right?
Yes,
The thing is, and I know that EduFund does scholarships worth 5 crores, right? You yourself mentioned,
yes.
and I have in my career met true bright scholars as well, correct? But my only thing is that those are very far and few. And honestly, if you're one of them, then, kudos to that. But typically, we see that the scholarships only cover a fraction of your overall cost. They, in fact, cover a fraction of your tuition fee. And there are accommodation costs, there is lab charges, there are book charges, there is travel charges, there are travel charges which are associated, right? So, whenever you're thinking of study abroad, or whenever you're thinking of even studying within India, right? If, let's say, I am from Delhi or Gurgaon, right, and I get a college, let's say in Chennai, whatever I factor in, I need to add a hostel cost. I need to add maybe to travel back home, correct? And I need to look for certain entertainment expenses, rightly adjusted as per Chennai cost of inflation, etc., right? So these are very important aspects when we look at it, because again, guys, we are, and think about it. All of us have had extremely good upbringing, extremely good lifestyles. Do not think that you can really let go of all of that once you start studying abroad, right? You would want to do it, and hence it is important that when you take a cost of living, you should be comfortable, and you should not be really thinking, because a single spike in inflation can really put your calculations here and there. So that's why even with scholarships, I think education loan can be a blend, right? And as what I'm saying, that with self-finance also, it can be a blend. Either you take self-finance and prepay early, or you take a blend of self-finance and education loan, and or you just do not take option 1 and 2 and you take 100% education loan. That is again a very, very popular option, as we see a lot of students are genuinely utilizing it. And I think in the next slide, when we go there, we will also see why education loan, right, which is more important.
Yes. So I think a balance of all of it is very important. Being able to utilize all the resources to fund yourself the right way is, I believe, the right way to go forward.
Absolutely correct. In fact, that's what I'm saying. It is, so while, my slide talks about one over the other, right? But I genuinely encourage a blend personally, right? All of them can coexist, whether it is a self-finance, scholarship, and education loan. And you really need not choose between either of them, right? So with that thought in mind, why is education loan more of a smart financial planning tool? Okay. Now, what we say here is that once a customer takes an education loan, the financial borrower is in a way eligible to get benefits for the interest that he has paid. So the entire interest paid is deductible under Section 80E. So that's a big tax benefit that they get, right? And that kind of substantially reduces your interest cost by nearly the tax bracket that you are in. Again, if you are in the 20% tax bracket, then it's giving you a 20% saving. If you're in the top bracket, which is 30%, then it's giving you an effective 30% saving, right, in the total interest outgo. And education loans these days are very cheap. We aren't in US, okay, where the interest rate is so high. Dollar loans are so expensive, right? So if all of that is there, then imagine even if we are lending at 12%, and there is a 30% tax saving. So 12 minus 3, right? Effectively 9%. And while it is 3.6, so your effective thing only comes out to be somewhere around, let's say, 8.4. Now, 8.4 is a great deal. And 8.4, I know this for a fact that any of our mutual fund managers or anywhere that you have invested, right? They would definitely give us returns more than this. Correct. So this is why it is a very, very smart financial tool that you keep your savings intact. Your savings stay with you. You earn better interest. The interest that you're paying on housing loan is actually more than your saving, is actually less than your saving interest. I'm sorry, right? And that kind of helps you take this forward. The next bigger benefit that's coming our way is on the TCS, right? So an education loan, you don't need to define a purpose, right? You're very clear that these funds are being used towards education expense. Now, any non-education purpose remittance is now attracting a 20% TCS as against a 5% on education purpose and 0.5 on remittances through education loans, right? So with that being there, it is a very, very big advantage. And that's why we say that I think one should leverage and one should rightly leverage themselves and avail education loans.
Right. I think I just, a numerical example is that, say, suppose a student takes an education loan of 10 lakhs, the TCS applicable is just 1,500. Whereas opposed to them taking, whereas opposed to them self-funding the same amount, the TCS that it attracts is almost 15,000. So the difference between 1,500 and 15,000 is very huge. And I believe it's a very good advantage that students and parents can take, make use of.
Absolutely correct. In fact, TCS, along with the tax benefit, I think then, there is no need to deploy your funds and just take education loan through and through.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Let's go to the next slide, please.
And I think also another interesting point here is that, repayment spread across a very long tenure helps the student, understand the value of money. And also, it instills a sense of responsibility. They learn how to budget their finances, which is a very important life skill. And the flexibility, it also buys them a lot of time. So I think that is a very great way, a very good advantage that, students can make use of again.
That I absolutely agree. In fact, whenever, again, we are talking higher studies here, right? The main objective of higher studies is that, it is skill enhancement, skill development, and it is more towards being independent. Now, while there is one aspect which is being financial independence, right? The other aspect also which comes is being financial prudent, right? Being financially prudent leads to financial independence. Now, both of them are linked. So a student, when they are going abroad and the parents undertake an education loan, I think the sense of responsibility is high, right? They know it is not their parents' money that they're squandering away. Somewhere they want to pay back this loan themselves, right? Because there is that sense of pride that our parents facilitated this, gave us a stepping stone, and now it is for us to fly. And honestly, we do connect with a lot of students as part of normal customer connect, right? And the kind of pride that they have when they come back and repay the loan, that's immense, right? they're so proud of their achievements. They're so proud of the place that they're working, and they're so typically, they're like, oh, we did this to our parents and we did this. We've typically, and a student comes to repay their education loan after sponsoring a foreign trip for their parents to the place where they're staying, right? The first thing is let the parents come and see where we are staying, let them have a feel of my life. Once that is done, so it is a big matter of pride. And I think, yes, sense of responsibility, sense of independence, financial independence. And also, I think it also keeps the student in check. It's very easy to get swayed because they may not have regular parental conversation or parental guidance because the time zones may differ, right? We Indians lead a very sheltered life. That's also true, right? We really do not. We are not left to fend for ourselves after our grade 8th or 10th, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So let's go to the next slide. So this basically talks about, how we at Credila, okay, this I would just talk about. So there are various benefits. Again, you may just come back and say, oh, I may take a loan from anywhere. No, you should not take an education loan from anywhere, and you should take it from HDFC Credila. So this is important because we are registered NBFC with government, with RBI, and we are the only NBFC which allows benefits under Section 80E and TCS remittance both. Apart from us, it's only banks which will give you this benefit, right? But bank's product versus mine, we have big difference, and I think we will cover it in the next slide. So let's go to the next slide.
Right. So I have a question here. So for how long can a student exercise these tax benefits? Be it the parent of the student, whoever is repaying the loan. I've read that it is for a period of 8 years. Is that right?
That's correct, right? Again, first of all, while we give loans up to 15 years, students typically close the loan in 3 to 5 years, right? It's the first year of their job that they first want to square off this loan because they want to do away with their liability. And while parents are co-applicants on the loan, so they really do not want parents to take this burden with them, right? So this is how it is. So while it is 8 years, I completely agree, but hardly the students take it. But yes, you have an option. There are, of course, smart financial planners who kind of see the kind of income that they have, make partial prepayments, rightly adjust. But I think these are few things that I would genuinely encourage all to have conversations with their chartered accountants, right? Because they would manage their monies the best, right? But yes. So we have covered TCS, and I think you covered it wonderfully well. So I think we can skip this slide and move forward. So guys, tax collected at source, it is important because each foreign remittance bill is liable, is scrutinized. And it is something that why not make use of existing financial tools like education loan, right? And, this is all about smart financial planning. It's just about saving that extra buck that you can. Next slide, please. So this is the main thing that I wanted to talk about as to why HDFC Credila. So of course, I think I have really covered in detail why education loans, right? Again, why HDFC Credila? First, I've explained that in Indian financial sector there are two types of entities which can lend. One is banks, the other is NBFCs. In the entire NBFC world, we have told you that HDFC Credila makes the right sense and is the only choice available because we are the only ones authorized to give you Section 80E benefit and also the TCS benefit, okay, which is applicable to an education loan. Now, when it comes to banks versus us, yes, there are banks which can give you the same level of 80E benefit and TCS benefit. But, I at HDFC Credila are very comfortable to cover the cost of living, ancillary cost, and we only do not fund for the tuition fees. So which is very important, right? We cover the entire set of expenses. We do not keep any margin in the sense it is not a co-funding thing that you also need to put in some money and I need to put in some money. We are absolutely okay in covering 100% of finance, right? I give unsecured loan up to 75 lakhs. Now that is a big win, right? And I do it, and I have been doing it over the years, and this is no secret. We have proven with delivering this year on year. And hence, I'm extremely proud in saying that yes, this is and especially on this particular point, there is no asterisk also. Please see, right? So it doesn't come with any terms and condition apply. Yes, we do give loans unsecured up to this amount. Of course, it is subject to my underwriting and my underwriting norms. That's one thing. We do offer flexibility of multi-city co-borrowers. Now we are so the thing is that when you are a young organization, right, you yourself, when you see students up close, you can understand the challenges very well. The student is, let's say, pursuing their studies in Calcutta. The parents are staying in Delhi. Do they really need to meet just to process an education loan, right? We have practically solved it. No, you don't need to meet, right? Ours is 100% digital application. The student can do it or the parent can do it from wherever they are sitting. We will underwrite it, we will deliver, we will give you the loan kit digitally. You sign it digitally and your loan is sanctioned, right? We are also very comfortable with flexible repayment options, right? So my maximum loan tenure is 15 years, right? So we can choose up to that. We offer moratorium as well when it comes to interest moratorium during the study period. That means you're not supposed to pay anything during the time when you're studying. If you think you only want to pay only interest, we will accept that. If you want to pay partial interest, we will accept that. You want to pay EMI, we will accept that. So what we are saying is, and we can also change it, right? We are here saying that, fine, you may not want to start EMI for 6 months, but after 6 months, you may want to start. We are absolutely comfortable, right? So customizations are extremely important. Maybe at this time, you're not able to appreciate this because we are not really structuring your loans, right? But these are important discussion items which needs to be done with the financial co-borrower, with the student, with the kind of cash flows that they're expecting, right?
Yes.
That all is a big advantage to me.
Yes. So I have a question here. So basically, point number 4 says, unsecured loans up to 75 lakhs. So what is the eligibility criteria? Now, do factors such as the university ranking, the test scores, all of this, do these factors influence the amount that students are eligible for? Or is everyone eligible for a 75 lakh loan?
Okay. The thing is, first of all, the loan eligibility is decided by the cost of education, right? I would want to fund for tuition fee and living expenses. I have an in-house team, okay, who thinks that this is the amount of money that the student would need for living expenses. So we will cap the amount to that, okay? And this is very generous. Typically, students take less than that, right? So once I have arrived at that guiding figure, then we need to see whether we can give that figure as secured or unsecured. So yes, in an unsecured loan, the college ranking, the course, okay, it does play a role. Now, past academics do not play a role in secured versus unsecured, right? Because again, if somebody is going to an Ivy League and they have received an admit from an Ivy League and their past qualification is not that great, right? But if Ivy League is accepting them, then I have no problems, right? That is because maybe the students' work experience or what they have done for the society is so path-breaking that, that goes beyond the qualification or the education qualification. So past academics will not. Typically, we would be guided by the country, course, and college for unsecured loans.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
So what we are trying to say here is that, what is the right time to apply for an education loan? Oh, I am wanting to travel abroad study abroad in fall 24. Is it a right time? I'm still thinking of, I've just given my GRE, IELTS, TOEFL. I'm still thinking of applying. Should I apply it now? I'll receive my admit and then I'll do it. So these are the various thoughts that keep coming into the student's mind. Please understand, I think, for us at HDFC Credila, the minute you have taken a qualifying score, right, which is your English language proficiency score, and you have made up your mind that yes, basis this score, your counselor has guided you that these are the certain things that you should be looking at. And we are hopeful that if we apply, make your application well, or you apply yourself well, these are your probable chances, then my suggestion is that please apply for an education loan. I do not want any child to be in a situation where they have thought of applying to University X in country Y, but the loan value is not supporting, and maybe the self-finance option is also not there. I think it is very important to see that what is the financial aid or the financial loan that you can get, like exactly the way, kids look at scholarships, that if I apply this is my percentage of scholarship that I can get. This is the past trend of scholarships that we have received, or, a cohort similar to mine has received. I would suggest that it's done. Similarly, it doesn't take you anything, right? You should apply for an education loan. We should vet it basis the financials and your past academics, etc. And whenever you receive an admit, it is just a re-underwriting that is done. Thankfully, this also saves you the effort of scrambling for documentation the time when you are receiving your admits. Because at that, you will be very worried, which admit should I go for, which course is better, which college is better. You are on a high receiving your admits at that time. You have to solve through, really make your way through those admits. There is no clear college ranking or course ranking that is available, right? So you need to speak to people. So rather utilize your time right now and apply for a loan.
Right. I think many students are still not aware that they can start the education loan process with their test scores. So I hope our audience are taking note that you can start applying for your education loans and you do not have to wait until the last moment.
Yes, this is important because, every year we see this, that all the students will start applying in April, May for their education loan. Honestly, you're choking an already choked system, because that is the time when the banks are re-underwriting the loans. This is the admits that you have received.
Correct. Yes. And so, Shweta, as we're approaching the spring 24 intake, when do you suggest is the right time for students to start their loan application process?
I said we are accepting applications for fall 24. You're talking spring, so aren't you?
Right. Oh, right, absolutely.
You're late, guys. You're seriously late. Like, spring is what, 3 months away, out of which, the next month is full of festivities.
Right. Yes. I think in India, we have to take such factors into account.
Because every part of India is, observing one festival or the other. Okay. The bank staff will be skeletal. And I know this for a fact that my spring applications have started coming in since July. So we typically start receiving applications 6 months in advance, and fall we always receive a year in advance.
Right. Yes.
So this is just like a ballpark figure as to, what determines your loan eligibility. So we at HDFC Credla, we do not really, a lot of people come back and say, ours is a manual human-led underwriting, okay? We do not feed the data in a computer, and an AI does not accepts or rejects a loan for us, right? So we are not there. Now, why we are not there? Because again, we understand education abroad and higher education and the student circumstances can be extremely complex. They cannot be hard-coded in an AI. So what I am talking here right now is more like a guiding light kind of a thing, but nothing beyond. It is not a policy. It is not strict. So, for example, student's academic profile. Of course, we would want the student to have an excellent academic profile. Okay, we would want them to have being consistent. So, what we look at for is being consistent in their studies. Honestly, I'm not looking at a top performer, right? Because that's not my call. If your university and your college where you're wanting to pursue your study are looking to accept you, the only thing I look for is regularity in studies, and I look for any, if there are any red flags, which again, parents' profile. We are looking at parental profile just to see, because parents are typically the financial co-borrowers of the loan. Just in case, the student may not be able to square off the loan, okay, pay the loan, are the parents comfortable? But again, we have multiple times seen that the parents are from extremely humble background, but the student has really worked hard and created a niche and got one of the admits from one of the most reputed colleges. May not have been able to score a scholarship, right? We still go ahead, because we are so clear about the student's future that we'll go ahead and fund the student around this. Collateral. Now, there are times that, there are certain considerations, and there is a collateral which is available, which is discussed when we do a personal discussion with the student and the parents. We just take a collateral along with it. And again, collateral is not a mandatory condition, it is an optional condition, right? So there are certain factors which get swayed in because there is a collateral. Because again, in India, there are times that income and wealth are very different, right? There can be families with wealth, but they may not have a regular source of income, saying which, yes, everybody has extremely noble thoughts about their child's education. And these are certain factors with which we kind of arrive at the loan eligibility.
Right. So what are the different kinds of types of collateral that HDFC Credila accepts from students?
We accept properties, okay, which can be residential, commercial, plot of land. It should not be agricultural property, right? The residential property can be self-occupied, rented, vacant, anything. We are okay for that. And mind you, when you are mortgaging this property, or when you're giving this as an undertaking, you're free to use the property, as in whether the family is staying in it, they can continue to stay in it. If they've put it on rent, they can continue to enjoy the rental income from that property. There is no way that we are using that. It is just that, yes, the original property papers remain in our custody, just in case that,
right,
we have a recourse to it, just in case things go sour. Apart from that, we also take fixed deposits, the entire financial prudence tool that I was talking about. So in case customers have fixed deposits, we can also take fixed deposits and mark a lien onto them. We currently have this with HDFC Bank, but as we are talking, we are also working with multiple banks to give us this arrangement. And as and when this is there, okay, we will keep on publicizing about it.
Okay, so this is just a question that I've received from, that I've heard from many students. They frequently ask, is gold accepted? Is, LIC accepted? So, but I believe they are not.
No. We do not accept gold, and we do not accept insurance policies, right? These financial tools right now are not available as collaterals.
All right. Okay. So now say, suppose, coming to an example, of the parents' profile and students' academic profile. Now say, suppose the student has very average profile, but this parents' profile is financially strong. How would Credila look into this? So now say, suppose the student has 4 to 5 backlogs, but this parent has a really good, a very good source of income.
So my thing is, I think I would also want to see the kind of course in college where the student is wanting to get admitted to, right, for which he's pursuing this education loan. And we would also want to hear get to know the reason for the back, okay. So every loan application, there is a personal discussion that is undertaken. My credit underwriter actually ends up speaking to the customer and understanding what was the reason. Now, just looking at a back, it can also be because of certain health problems. It can also be due to certain family emergencies. And again, if we say that the child lost his way, okay, as long as there is enough proof that, yes, that has got corrected, right, and what he or she is doing at the moment is more important. So collectively, I think overall, we kind of see this and take a call.
Okay.
So documentation that we require for loan processing, again, very simple. KYC, of course, we need KYC documents as prescribed by RBI for all the loan co-applicants. We need income documents for the financial co-applicant, academic documents for the students. And again, collateral documents if, the parents are very sure that they want to undertake a secured loan only. There are certain benefits of a secured loan versus an unsecured loan, interest rate benefit being the first thing, right? A secured loan comes cheaper as compared to an unsecured loan. So that is why there are times that families opt for a secured loan.
Right. So coming to a profile now, say suppose the co-applicant of a student is from a farming or agricultural background. So how does HDFC Credila process an education loan for a student of this background?
Okay, for a farming background, I would pick up KYC documents. I would pick up, I would say if there is admit that is received, we will see the kind of course college that the student is going. If there is no admit that is received, we'll speak to the student to understand what course college are they going for. The father or the mother of the co-applicant will be, of the student will be on the loan. if let's say the father is a farmer and in his name the farming is done. So typically all state governments issue a sort of revenue certificate to each farmer, talking about the kind of yield that they have had in the last crop season and the expectations. So we derive basis that, we take an understanding on the family's income basis that, and we take it forward. We would not accept any agricultural land as a collateral, right? But the revenue certificate gives us indication on the family income, right? Largely. So this is how we would take it up.
Okay.
So guys, this is what we want to say, that, whosoever has attended this webinar, and I can see nearly 50, 60 participants, right? In case you're looking to apply for a loan with us, right? Reach out to your guides at EduFund, right? Reach out to them. They will help us direct you to the right federal officer, which is closest to your location, right? And basis that, we can take your journey forward, and we can be a part of your education journey too.
Right. So with this, we are done with today's session, but we have received a couple of questions. So let me just come ahead, list out a few questions.
Sure, go ahead. I'm happy to answer them if they are directed towards me.
Yes. So there is this question, I think it has been answered. It says, what if a student does not have collaterals?
We are more than happy to give unsecured loans, guys. Collateral is not a mandatory condition. It is an optional condition. Education loans are largely given as unsecured. So do not think that a collateral. Please understand that, we at Credla know that, you are there to build a future for yourself. And we genuinely want you yourself to pay the loan, right? Not really your parents. So with that in mind, we are more than comfortable in sanctioning education loans, unsecured.
And there's another question that says, can we get a loan with the help of a relative's property?
As long as the relative is okay to be on the loan. So guys, these are very structured as transactions. First of all, collateral is not mandatory. But again, if your approval condition mandates a collateral, right, we need to see what is your relationship with the relative. If they are grandparents, then yes. If they are some uncle or aunt, then we need to see what kind of interest they have. And again, whosoever is the property owner, they need to be on the loan, right? So with that kind of a thing, yes, we can do this.
Yes. And the next question is, what is the maximum moratorium that one can get on an education loan?
So one can get study period +1. So typical study period is 2 years, okay? And this is moratorium as an option is available only for postgraduate studies, right? So 2 years of PG +1 year. So 2 + 1 is the maximum moratorium period that one can get.
Okay. And we have another question that says, that asks, who all can be co-borrowers on a loan?
Student. And along with student, we would want the parents to be on the loan, let's say the father or the mother on the loan. In case mother is on the loan and the main income earning member in the family is father, then we would want the father to be on the loan. If the student is married, then yes, the spouse can be on the loan instead of parents. If the parents are retired, but the spouse is working, or there is a sibling who's working, and we are basing the eligibility basis, the sibling or the spouse's income, then they need to be on the loan. So what I'm saying that these are matters which basically require certain level of discussion, right?
Right.
We would want least number of applicants to be on the loan, but we are very open in taking applicants and co-applicants on the loan.
Right. And I think this should be the last question of the session. The others will be answered via mail. So one of our attendees have asked if there is any age limit for the co-borrower.
Age limit for the co-borrower? No. Right. But the general thing is that the co-borrower should be not beyond 75 years at the time of loan maturity, 75 or this thing. And again, you're talking about income co-applicants here, right? If there is a property co-applicant, if the co-applicant is here, let's say only because the property is in their name, then this maximum age can be overridden.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the remaining questions will be answered via email. Our team will reach out to you by the next working day. And with this, we come to an end of this session. And Shweta, thank you so much. It was a very insightful session. I'm sure all our audience are very happy and are leaving us with the right set of information and are all ready to get started with their studies abroad. And we wish you all the very best. And yes, Shweta, thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thanks a ton to Krishna Priya, you and your entire team for organizing this, right? And I hope students, to all of you, maybe you have invested this much of time, this was useful. My thing is, do not waste time, whatever other excerpts that you were able to catch up, and whichever way you are in your study abroad journey. Are you still thinking of writing a GRE exam, or you're actually applying, or you've received admit for spring 24? Wherever you are, it is just that, just hasten it, okay, concentrate, and yes, all the best.
Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.